So today I'm going to be painting Karthaen Huntcaller. It's from the Beastgrave set. I'm going to go for more of a blonde look with lots of golds and greens. And we'll see how this comes out. I'm going to be using all contrast paints and a few metallic paints as well. I'll go through those. So I started with the flesh on the upper half of the body using Dark Oath Flesh contrast paint. And for models like this, I like to start from the inside and come on out, just so I can kind of get the stuff that's more recessed first. So I painted the bottom part of the legs with Fire Slayer's Flesh, which is just a slightly darker flesh tone than the Dark Oath that I used up top on the human side. So I just give it a little bit of difference and show a little bit of like fur added to the legs. So I went for the hair and I used Agaros Dunes. And I'm actually pretty happy with how this one came out because it's normally just a light brown, but it kind of gave him a dirty blonde look. And as you can see, I'm painting them pretty quickly and not waiting too long for the drying time, but just switching to different parts of the model that will allow it to dry. Usually I batch paint several different models, but since I'm painting these guys individually, gotta kind of swap around to where I'm painting. So I've painted the furry bits on the legs using snakebite leather. And something I didn't notice about these models is that they have tails on them. And it's kind of the fun stuff you notice painting the guys rather than just using them on the board. I painted the gem in his belly, nice bright red. It's Blood Angel's red, kind of a nice spot color. I'm gonna clean up the edges when I do the surrounding bits. For the front armor plates on the loincloth, I used Militarium Green. And it's the first time I used this color, and I'm really happy with it. And for the back of the loincloth area, I've used Creed Camo. For the pauldron and the sheath of the sword, I used Warp Lightning, which is probably my favorite paint out of the contrast paint so far. For the bits of harder leather, I used Dark Angel's Green, as you can see on the cufflinks and kind of on the waistband. And some of the extra bits on the sheath as well. And it's nice dark green. For any exposed wood, as you can see on the horn and on the staff, I painted those with Skeleton Horde. So I painted all of the bits that are going to be gold with Wildwood, which is a very dark brown, and I like it as a nice way to kind of clean up all the bits and give the gold an even undertone as well. So I've done a wet dry brush of the gold areas on the staff and on the horn, some of the sword, and I used Retribution Armor, and like I said, it was a very wet dry brush. I just did a light dry brush of Stormhost Silver over the gold, just to liven up the gold just a little bit. So I just did some touch up on the gemstones. I painted them a color that was similar to the spray paint I used. For that I used Craft Smart acrylic paint vanilla. I put some Blood Angel's red over the gemstones. I used some Creed Camo on the base. Filled in the dirt areas with some Wildwood. Added some Ayanden yellow to the center of the flowers. Added some Volupus pink to the flowers. So I added some Rhinox hide to the base to finish it off. And this model is complete. I had a lot of fun painting it up. It took about 2 hours to paint in total painting time. But as far as it's essentially a character model, so I'm pretty okay with that. But yeah, it's super dynamic and very easy to paint, actually. There was nothing that was actually tricky about it. But I had a good time, and I hope you guys had a good time.